The Covenant of the Enlightened is coming to Armoured Clash and they bring all their esoteric weapons with them. Hello everyone and welcome on another video of Love and Wargames. In this video we are going to do the unboxing and the tactical deep dive for the Enlightened Faction Battle Group starter set. And as you can see, it is absolutely massive. Oh my god, it's heavier than I even thought it would be. And yeah, we will do the usual thing and actually weight the box. That's gonna take a few seconds. We're going to unbox everything, take a look at the different sprues. There should be two different types of sprues, one for all the infantry, and you can see that we get more infantry there than ever before. The heavy sprues with the Martian tripods, those beautiful, like, I don't know what to call them, scarab, like artillery things. We will see, of course, the little bonus thing that we are used to by now. We will obviously see the new massive, well, yeah, I think it is going to be massive, super heavy Surveyor or Extractor for the Covenant. So it's their flagship. I don't know how to call it for Armoured Clash, land ship, but it's not, let's call it a land ship, okay? And then in the second half of the video, the longer half of the video, we are going to see every single variant that you can see. So probably the video is already more than an hour, I guess it's going to be. And yeah, there is a lot of different variants, and we're gonna see each of them, how much point they cost, how you can play with them, etc, etc. By the time I record this video, I did not yet receive my Union forces, so we'll not be able yet to make some size comparison. However, we know already that next month, so in April 25, there are going to be the aircrafts being released, including the ones for the Enlightened. So now at last, when we're gonna make the technical deep dive, we can say like, okay, anti-aircraft weapons are useful. As always, you know how it works. A thumbs up, subscribe, let us know in the comment if you like, and if you put a comment, you gain a chance to gain an entire Union armada for dystopian wars, or you can get a Dwegom army for conquest. And you can also join us, link in the description, on our Discord of Love and Wargames. We make some video games role-playing, like not role-playing, but just gaming evening on Helldiver, Supreme Commander, whatever. And you can gain even more tickets by joining us there. And okay, first things first, let's see how much it weighs. It is heavy-ish. My god, it's more than 2 kilos. You have more than 2 kilos of plastic and resin in there. And yeah, well, I can tell you, I feel the 2 kilos when I carry this thing. Damn, you can make some work out of it. Just kidding, but yeah, you do have a lot of value for your money. It's 150 euros or dollars, I guess it's the same. And remember that if you buy it on MyOBPlace, you have minus 15%. And so that it starts to be really interesting when you buy such big boxes. I mean, there is a lot of things inside, but yeah, if you can get it with a discount, minus 15% is good. And if you do, you can put Love and Wargames in the basket and we'll receive another 5% for us. And it doesn't cost you anything anymore, so thank you very much if you do that. Without further ado, let's open the box. Okay, let's start. And as always, it is filled to the brim. We're getting the usual thing where they say free rules and everything for dystopian wars, which is the naval part of the game. And for Armoured Clash, everything is for free. You can go there, you have the free Orbat, which is the army book, let's say, the rule, the unit cards, everything, the wallpapers. That's very well. We know how it works. You get in these starters some dice, so that is already very good. Proprietary dices that are, well, usually I don't like proprietary dices, but those are really nice and they really like have a purpose. Like it's not just like, okay, 6 is this, that's 5 is that. It really visually tell you what you need to know, and it goes so fast to play with those. You get 10,000 bases because you have 10,000 infantry in this box. You're gonna get some base for your flyers, let's say, your hovercraft, more infantry, oh my god, there is so many. It is going to be one of our player in Nantes that is going to be collecting the Covenant, so expect him on the channel. You've seen him a few times. He had the white and red Covenant color scheme, especially when we made all the flying saucers versus the peace talks between Task Force Mordred and the Crown, for those who remember. And it's gonna be this type again. More dice, the cards, which are absolutely mandatory. I mean, you can play without, but it gives such a good bonus to the game. It makes me say that you really want this starter and not the introductory starter set if you don't have the cards, because it's such a good value. We have the resin flagship that we will keep a little bit later on. Of course, I'm trying to keep you watching the video because YouTube likes when people stay, and then it recommends to more people, blah, blah. The objectives and movement markers. Can go a bit further than it used to for Dystopian War, so I'm very happy about this. Maybe I will even use it for Dystopian War. It can go up to 40? How? How does this work? Okay, I will need to check, but I think it's like, okay, here 1 to 10. Okay, 1 to 5, 5 to 10, 10 to 15. Okay, and then you go, oh my god. Does it mean that if you get 2 of those sets, which again makes a little smile, love it, with a little note. If you get 2 of those sets, you can just clip them together and go all the way to 40 inches. I'm not gonna say it's convenient because you can just use some measuring tape, but it's actually well thought. Thanks for Cradle. You get all the terrains the same as usual, so you know how it is. I'm not going to unpack it too much, but you get 2 types of sprues. We've seen them quite a few times now for this unboxing. You know how it works. You've seen the end result. Tactica painting has some tutorials on to make them, and especially also speed demon painting, which did a lot of beautiful things with those, and some full spectrum dominance terrain. Full spectrum dominance, it is still under painting, so please, Kao, if you watch this video, I would like to record a battle report for full spectrum dominance soon. Getting my message sent, but yeah, do expect full spectrum dominance as soon as possible. We have a few armies being painted at the same time. Now we go to the heart of the topics, the sprues themselves. As always, they are extremely small, so I will try to zoom so you can see a bit better. I'm getting all the light I can. Okay, let's have a look at... I will be honest, I'm not even talking about painting, but I'm having trouble with my eyes to see even the details of this miniature. What? Does he have like night goggles or something? Oh my god, it is so small. If you can see, but it's absolutely minuscule. Okay, it has a bit blade for sure. I think it has some night vision or something with a mask under. That is so cool. The coolest ones are, damn, this guy with a shield. He looks brilliant. Every time I see an army, I'm like, oh my god, I want to collect it, but come on, this guy looks like a bad guy from, I don't know, from the Nod from Command and Conquer, or wasn't there a cartoon called Mask? I have a flashback from my childhood. Also reminds me a lot of like all those things like G.I. Joe and everything. Like I really like Covenant Infantry Troopers design. We got some more basic troops here. We have the motorcycle, which is a terrible idea. I hate motorcycles very much in this game or in Warpath and everything. Just isn't it? Don't you fall all the time with a motorcycle? Like as soon as there is someone shooting at you, you would just fall and cannot go up. Like, but I don't know. Explain to me if I'm very stupid and it's very cool, but I don't really like it very much. But damn, look at even the very basic, absolutely minuscule infantry with their mask here and their little rifles. Like just seeing this basic troop makes me want to collect Covenant. I'll be honest. I know I have my good old Union coming, but damn, those look really good. So there are different types. We will see there is the basic infantry, there is the Wardens, there is a lot of different units, but those seem to be mostly all of them just basic infantry with different equipment, and they're all injected in a single time. And I'm really trying to give you a good view at all those infantry, but they're looking so good. Of course, you get those guys on their little jetpack just flying around. You will be able to paint the smoke if you so desire. Here are some more, I guess those are Wardens with the shield. And this guy with a shield plus hammer, oh my god. It's like a big dwarf. It looks so good. This guy gives me very much like Red Faction vibes for those who knew this video game. With the little shield and the hammer, oh my god. It's an absolute home run, this sprue. Like, look at the level of detail on all of those. I mean, it's gonna be a nightmare. And if big courage to our Nantes community member, Gauthier, for painting all of this. You're gonna have your work cut out for you. I know you already bought 3 other boxes to already get started before I send you this. But damn. And of course, you're gonna have the legs for the Striders. So they kind of like motorcycles, but with legs. We will see them later on. I am partial to the art direction, but the Covenant Infantry sprue might be my favorite sprue of the entire Armoured Clash setup. Everything, and look at this guy with the cape and everything, and those guys with the shield and the Striders and the little flying infantry. Like, I'll be honest, like there are in 40k I had some units with jetpack. I literally got 3 printed, or maybe it was just bits at some point, exactly this type of mechanical rotors, just to have my was it Marines at the time with this specific type. So I love it, and now I can have 10,000 infantry with these specific beautiful rotors just charging down the enemy. The art style of the Covenant infantry is just lovely, incredible, but you gotta decide at some point. Okay, we spent a lot of time on this sprue, but I hope you saw all this horde of infantry, and I really hope we'll see a lot of Covenant on the table, because I cannot wait to see hordes of those going down. So you do get 4 sprues of infantry. Just look at how many infantry you have. Like, that is going to be a lot of people to get painted. And now we go to the absolute opposite, the Covenant vehicle sprues, which is elite, very large, very tough models. The first thing that catches our attention is the hull of those Martian tripods. Gonna have some flyers as well here, and a lot of different bits and pieces, and like this is gonna be for the tank, the assault version. This, not sure. You're gonna have those. Oh my god, this looks very scary. Yeah, it can actually be painful. Be careful with this. You can cut yourself on the kill. So all these different weaponry, probably for the assault tanks. You should have the artillery, like the Scarab artillery there. I guess this is the head of the Scarab. Okay, as always, the build instructions are on the Warcradle website. So if you have any doubt, and I think you will have at some point when you see this, take a look at the instructions, because the legs for the walkers and everything are gonna be here. And you're like, okay, which weapons do I take on? Well, take a look there. We do have one last infantry, which is those very cool Abomination. They're a little bit like, I don't know, like Skaven monstrosity, because they have a lot of like those little things to go around and just punch the enemy up. I like that they have the same heads as the normal infantry. It really gives you a sense of perspective. Yeah, this looks like a bit box, to be honest, like with all the different things. I think you can make your vehicles look extremely varied. Like the infantry of the Covenant is so small, like they have different poses, but you will not notice. Here, I think customizability is really the name of the game at Warcradle, and you can really choose which weapons to put. Very impressed by this. I will try not to spend too much time on the sprues, because I know that it is too much. For the Tactica, there is a world map. I will not unbox it. You've seen it in every single one of our starter videos. Tokens as well, you know how good they are. If you like, those are necessary, and they also work for Dystopian Wars, so you can use them. They're actually bigger than Dystopian Wars, so very good from this. It's not exactly the same as Dystopian Wars though, but you can proxy probably. You're gonna have the rulebook as well, very important, very large. There's been a couple erratas on saying that were not clear, like nothing was completely broken, but there were some erratas already. The rules are quite clear, but always quite nice to have the team publish often. They said even on Dystopian Wars they want to make big update every 6 months and not more, to really not have this period like we had at some point where there was an update every 2 weeks. And before we go for the Tactica, of course we're going to unbox this massive baby. I see bits flying around everywhere. Okay, we'll open it carefully. Be careful, because there are bits everywhere. They're really like little things. I'm like, what do I do with it? It's the opposite of the Union train, which was in one big piece. And here really, like, we can see, is this like the leg? Or is it, I have no idea what this is. Okay, it's gonna be difficult. I like that they keep the same design for their shields, for example, whichever they scale. Let me zoom again. I like that they keep the design, even for the weapons of the Covenant. I think this is the mouth, and I love that they keep the door and the little ladder for scale. I think it's here, if I'm not mistaken, that Speed Demon Painting got a brilliant idea. He put some infantry commanders on the top, which is absolutely brilliant. Like, always put infantry on your vehicles if you can. On the land train there was no space, but for this, like, you have to. Yeah, this is going to be something that requires a bit of assembly with the legs and everything. Can always say that, okay, there is some, is it flash or not? I don't want to take the risk of, yeah, I think it is flash, but I will let our player to clean this if needed. Yeah, it's kind of makes sense for something so small. Good detail though on those legs. You get separate feet for the little Titan. Love this. Does it mean you get some possibility? I don't think it's going to be absolutely massive possibility. Yeah, some things flew around. More legs. Yeah, you get a lot of little details. Some of those went off already, as we've seen. Yeah, again, lots of toolbox, except this one is in resin. Damn, you do get a lot of value for your money. Okay, get some weapons here. More feet, and that should be about it. So I'm sorry, I cannot show you what it is going to look like in the end, because it's not me that is going to build this. But do expect it absolutely in a battle report soon. Just realize like all these things could be like little terrain bits. Well, of course you don't want to spend your beautiful land ship as a source of terrain bits, but just saying, if you have too many and you don't want to build a third one because you bought this box 3 times because you want one of each, but you is the cheapest source of sprues and terrain and everything. Just saying, good source of terrain bits. Alright, so you have these massive content. We're not surprised anymore, but it's still quite impressive to see like you have more than 2 kilos of resin and everything. That was the first part, just the unboxing, taking a look at everything. Now let's go for the second half, the longer half, the more interesting one, I believe, which is the in-depth Tactica for the Enlightened faction. So let's get started for this tactical deep dive. And the first thing I want to say is that I'm sorry, I waited for the final version of the Orbit to be released. And it's been a while, like I'm recording at the end of March. And yeah, we expected a bit later, but a bit earlier, but we are already in 1.01, and a few of the bugs or issues that there were in the original Orbit for the Covenant have been fixed. So that was, let's say, like a 1.00 was a big beta, let's call it like this. And now we have the final version of the Orbit that should last at least 6 months. We had some global updates. I will not make a deep dive on each of the factions. There were some changes, especially on Crown and Empire, but they are small enough that you can just have a look. There is a nice rules change in the glossary and each Orbit at the last page, so have a look if you want to take a look at that. And for the Covenant, we'll take a look right now at the units as they are now. So the playstyle of the Covenant, well, the main theme of the Covenant is still, as in Dystopian Wars, that you have insane weapons, you have super high-tech, almost alien weaponry. However, they are quite unstable. They play a little bit like the Skaven of Dystopian Wars and Armoured Clash, and this is especially true here. You are going to have very efficient infantry that can punch way up and can be pushed to be basically unbreakable through morale, which is incredible. You have some very aggressive and very melee-oriented threats all the way across the game. And you have some insane War of the Worlds style vehicle that are very expensive, a little bit fragile, but damn do they pack a punch. So yeah, you are going to be the most melee focused force probably the entire game. You're going to have tons of very cheap chaff infantry and some very powerful vehicle, and you are not a long range artillery faction. You want to be way up there at point blank and shoot the enemy right in the face, and you're going to do a ton of damage while doing that. So a little reminder of everything that you get up there. I'm not going to go too much in detail, but as you can see, in a single box you have so many bases of infantry and cavalry. Let me just look at that. I don't even want to count them, but there is... That's going to take a while to paint, but then you're going to have such a beautiful army on the table. Like, if you like this theme of hordes of basic cybernetic, like almost Frankenstein-esque infantry supported by those very beautiful futuristic style crawlers, well, damn, do I have a faction for you. So now we're gonna take a look at the battle groups, and we'll start, like, those have been updated indeed. As you remember from the previous video, battle groups, you need to have a default faction battle group, which is this one, before you can unlock the other specialist battle groups. So one of each, you need, if you want one of each of the specialist battle group, you will need 2 of the basic faction battle groups. So you need 4 battle groups in total. That starts to be quite a lot, but you do get some bonuses around. You can see here, I will not go too much in detail, but you can see what you can/need to bring. For example, you need 1 commander for the faction battle group, obviously, and you need a minimum of 1, and you can put a maximum of 6 enlightened infantry units. When you see a little arrow, star, it means that one of the unit can be bolstered. So there is 3 levels of battle, like skirmish, like level 1, 2, 3, the most common being level 2, and maximum level 3 being Apocalypse, where all restrictions are gone. But if you play at reinforcement level 1 or 2, then you cannot put a maximum sized units. You cannot bring as many units as you want in a single one. You have to be restricted by your reinforcements level. If you are battle level 1, you can have a single unit, for example 6 stands of infantry. Battle level 2, 6 or 12 stands in a single units of infantry. And if you are at the maximum 3rd level, like apocalyptic battles, it can be 6, 12 or 18 units in a single activation. And that starts to be quite a lot. I take 6, 12, 18, but if you play tanks, it's going to be 2, 4, 6. You see how it works. When there is a little star, it means you get a little joker for this specific category, for this specific battle group, which means that you can, let's say you play at battle level 1, the most simple one, so you can only play your infantry, basic infantry 8 by 8 in the turn, like since the infantry of the Covenant is like a horde infantry. However, one of the units out of the 6 that you can bring here can be bolstered, which means that instead of having 8 basic infantry, you can have 16. So this is reinforcements. You can have a little bit of everything. You need to have at least 1 armor, so this is something quite specific. We don't see it in other factions. You need at least 1 armor for your forces at this, even at the basic level, so you will not ever be able to play pure infantry horde, which is better in a sense, I believe. You can put up to 3 infantry, you can put up to 2 artillery, and you have some good ones. You can put 1 unit of a rotorcraft, so you will see the little helicopterish units, and finally 1 of the aircraft units that we will not cover in this. Well, we'll talk about it at the very end, but we are mostly covering at the units that are inside the starter box, but we'll give a few words about the aircraft at the end. Your mainstay units are units that you can bring multiple on in the same battle group, so you cannot put, for example, 3 copies of your cavalry, of 1 specific unit of cavalry, like the canine dogs. You cannot put 2 units of them in a single battle group. However, if they were mainstay, you could bring a second one. So for the faction battle group, the default one, you can do this for the citizen soldier contingent, which is the most basic infantry, makes sense, and the Mars battle tripod, which I will not dare say it's the basic tank of the Covenant because it's an absolute beast, but let's say it's the most default armored vehicle, and you can put 2 units of those. Then that's very, very scary. You do have a bonus while your commander for this battle group is alive. In this case, it's going to be Uncanny Reconstruction. It's a special order that you can give to any Enlightened unit, not specifically from this battle group, any on the battleground, as long as it is within X, so within certain range of another Enlightened unit in this force that has peer review. So you start to see their restrictions. Any unit can be targeted, but it needs to be within range of a unit with peer review, so most of the time it's going to be commander from this faction battle group. So this is much more restrictive than before. With other factions you can just target anywhere you want on the battlefield. Here you can target anywhere you want on the battlefield, any unit, but it needs to be within range of a peer review. And if you do this, you recover 1 damage, so you do repair your units. I do believe, because it's quite fun like this, like it doesn't only allow to remove damage on vehicles, which is the main thing. I wonder if you can repair infantry with this, like just having 1 infantry unit back, kind of like with the resurrection, would be fun, but I am not extremely sure. Anyway, the most value you will get out of this is going to be on your very heavy, super elite battle tanks, walkers. The other 2 battle groups that you have are the Crab and the Surg. Crab Consort is rapid assault battle groups, where you have your commander that can be bolstered as always. You have to bring an armored unit with some, again, but this time you can bolster 1 of them, which is nice. You have to bring an artillery, again, something new, can be bolstered, can bring some infantry or cavalry, but not many of those, and can bring an aircraft, not a rotorcraft, be careful. Your mainstay units are your walkers, so the Deimos, the Mars, and the Phobos, the 3 variants of the walker, like War of the World style. And your commander bonus is quite funny, it's called Let Slip the Leash, so you just let the dogs roam free. And it is basically you overcharge your vehicle. So your vehicle acted, so they moved around, maybe they made some melee, if they are Phobos, maybe they shot around if they are Mars. So they did their thing, and at the end of the activation, you give this special command. Again, it's very strong, but again, it's an auxiliary battle group bonus, so you need to pay for this. Like, You activate this card. If it's not cancelled, your unit can do another activation, not a full one. You can make an advanced and a ranged attack, but still crazy, or a charge and a melee attack, which is also extremely threatening. You do have an additional combat rating penalty, but the fact of being able to just move, shoot on such powerful unit is insane. Yes, you do get suppressed, kind of like the same as Give Them Hell for the Union. But if you have a pack of 6 Mars Battle Tripod, and you can move them in the middle of the enemy field, just obliterate an armored unit, and then move again and obliterate another armored transport or whatever, let me say that you are very happy to get suppressed whatever happened, because damn, this is very, very strong. Luckily, you cannot put it if you're already suppressed, good, and you cannot put it on a commander, which is good because you don't want a super heavy behemoth to make a double activation for sure. The other unit that you can, like the other battle group that you can have, is the Special Urban Reconnaissance group, and this is more like infantry, cavalry oriented unit. So you can have between 2, so minimum 2, and 6 infantry/cavalry, up to 2 armor, 1 rotorcraft that can be bolstered, so it's your only way to have bolstered rotorcraft if you want a big pack of aircraft. Sorry, rotorcraft, I need to make the difference, because you can also have an optional aircraft if you want right there. Your mainstay unit are the Hellion Cohort, so jetpack infantry, if I have to, like rotorcraft infantry. And your 2 types of cavalry, the Mono Cav, which is the giant wheel, and the Strider Cav, which is the very cool spider tanks. Your bonus is synchronized assault protocols, where you can, like when you ask for a flank attack, so basically you come from reserve and you go not in your deployment zone from the flank, you can say that you use this special rule. You need to tell that before your opponent chooses to interfere or not with the fact of like trying to cancel your flank attack. And if you do declare your synchronized assault, you can only do it 1 per round, again. It means that if the enemy tries to counter the fact that you will come from the flank, you will be considered to have a bonus of +2, let's say, to compare to your opponent. So you have much more chance to be able to come from the flank. It's not guaranteed either, but if you have a big pack of rotorcraft or melee cavalry, and we will see that you have quite a few of those, that wants to come from the flanks, this is a really, really good bonus to make sure that your units do come around. And just from the psychological point of view, like yes, it's a bonus of +2, which doesn't guarantee this, but does your opponent wants to burn a card knowing that you have such a bonus, it can be the bonus that makes the opponent say like, you know what, I'm not even going to try to cancel it, I don't have enough chance, and I will just let you come from the flank, do what you have to do. Again, really good bonus. Both of the auxiliary bonus for the Enlightened battle groups are insane. And I just noticed I still wrote on the second page Union battle groups. My bad, guys. So let's now have a look at each unit and how you can play them and how to get the most out of them. And we start with the absolutely massive, absolutely beautiful Whale Super Heavy Surveyor. It's this gigantic war machine. And I want to point out that I've seen Speed Demon Painting, another YouTube channel covering dystopian wars and Armoured Clash. Go subscribe to his video, he makes good quality content. He put some infantry commanding models right here, if you see my cursor, and they look brilliant, and it should be the default build, it should be official, it looks so good, it looks purpose made for this, and it looks great. Now, the whales, how do you actually play it? First thing to say, and I'm not going to go too much in detail, otherwise we're going to spend 3 hours on this video, and I've seen from the previous result that people don't like the super long videos because they don't make such good results anymore, so I'm going to try to go straight to the point. This thing has defense 4, damage limit 12, so you start to need to do at least 36 hits to destroy it, which is already very, very tough, but also it is shrouded, which means that you're always obscure, which basically means the enemy is always going to have a shooting penalty against you, which makes it even tougher, so that's really good. You can see that it has all-out attack 2, so it can shoot with 2 different weapons, so aerial is a bit secondary, but you're going to have probably those 2 lines of attack at long range that you will be able to shoot with. It has peer review 6 inches, which means first of all it combos with the bonus we've seen before from the battle group, but also every unit within 6 inches from even the legs of this guy is going to be immune to morale. Straight up. Like that's it. It doesn't have a bonus to discipline. No, you're immune. That's it.
so it's extremely strong. It also has shockwave, which is very fun. I'm not sure you want to do a lot of double time maneuvers with this guy, but basically any unit that it passes through must take a suppression test because it runs very fast with its big legs. Very fun, but I'm not sure how often you're gonna have to use it. It is tilted as well, so it can shoot even on top of units that are size 2, so even like cavalry and I think tanks even are size 2. That's very strong. Spectacular demise 12, so if it dies and you roll a 6, it's gonna make an absolutely massive supernova, which is thematic, makes sense. And it has crazy weapons. The first line, as you can see, it's this ranged light/heavy, so it can be against everyone. And you would be like, oh, but 4, 6, 8, it's not insane. What is the point? Overcharge, first of all, I didn't put it here because I'm running out of space, but overcharge means you can make it super strong in exchange for a risk to take damage. Okay. It is slow to fire and you will only be able to shoot every other turn. So you might be like, but what the hell? Why is it the main weapon so slow while you have so little dice? Yes, I can overcharge, but what else? Well, it is coruscating, and again, I will put the list before, but basically you make a line between where you are and 22 inches, and everything on this line is getting hit by this attack. So if you line up, like let's say you make a flank attack with this guy, I'm not sure you can make a flank attack with large units, but no matter where it is going to be located, probably on one of the flanks, if you can make a little pool game like VR with your opponent's list, you can absolutely obliterate everything with your overcharge, knowing that overcharge applies to every unit on the line. It's not like you overcharge and you pick one unit to be super hit. No, if you overcharge, and you're going to do it when you have a good lineup of enemy, you're going to overcharge on everything. It might cause you quite some damage, but it might also obliterate the enemy army with this giant Death Star, Death Ray weapon that you have. You also have a very powerful ranged heavy attack from 7 to 24 inches. If you are at point blank, so within 7 inches, you basically double the firepower, which is insane. You can also overcharge. So let's say that if you get within 7 inches of tank units and you overcharge with your 14 dice, you're going to absolutely obliterate your enemy units. It's those little things that you see wangling around. You can also point those at aerial units with the same efficiency. A little bit less range, but still crazy. And they are turrets, so you can shoot left, right, yes, with a little malus, but even in the rear, I think. So this is very, very strong. And you have some quite non-zero melee with 12 dice. I mean, it's not insane, but it is good. So this thing, the main weapon you want is the coruscating and overcharge weapon, but you can also overcharge your very strong anti-heavy, anti-aerial firepower. And like this is a piece of artillery that synthesizes what it means to be Covenant. Like you might blow yourself up, or you might just shoot the Death Star and obliterate the enemy army in one go. Not sure how balanced it is going to be and how fun it is going to be to play against this. I think very, because it's not like you teleport around like we've seen some very annoying attacks in dystopian wars. I think you can still protect yourself from the wells, but still it is going to be a massive anchor on the battlefield and all the eyes are going to be on this guy. I also think it is the largest miniature right now in Armoured Clash. It is absolutely gigantic. Yeah, I put here the rules for like slow to fire, turret, overcharge and everything. Basically, coruscating is what I explained to you, like you make a line and you shoot everything. For the overcharge, if you want to know a bit more about the rules, when you overcharge, you put a card, the top card of your deck, and then you put the command value to your attack. So it means that if you overcharge your thing, you can go from 8, and let's say you have +8, it becomes 16 dice in a line. Insane. But then for each blank in the pool, you get a damage. If you have a way to re-roll, somehow from cards, from whatever, this is a good time to do it, because otherwise, if you throw a lot of dice, that might start to be a lot of damage on your unit, and knowing that you are tough from the beginning, each wound that you lose, it's gonna hurt. The other version, the Horsell Superheavy Extractor, is the melee version. Like, there is no other way to say it around. It is still shrouded, still basically everything. It does have Hunter, which I didn't put it there. Yes, it's here. I was looking for it. It is right here in my cursor. It means that when you win a close quarter combat, doesn't mean that you need to destroy the enemy. Just win a close quarter combat, which, spoiler, it's very easy when you are this guy. You gain a victory point. Straight up. Insane. You have some nice little small attack, range attack. You can shoot 7, 14 while you're still intact, 14 when you're within point blank, which is within 6 inches. So this is the opposite of the whales. The whales, you want to put it on the side, make some positioning, make your giant death ray. This guy is straight in the middle, very tough, cheaper. The 25 points is not insignificant, and it's almost 10% cheaper, is it? It's 5% cheaper. Still, it's nice. And once this guy, that again is very tough, goes to melee, while it's relatively intact, and come on, you need to wake up early to start to damage this guy, it is going to be 16 dice, suppressive, so sure, be suppressive as well with the Madus, and penetrating, which means that first of all, you're going to wipe out much of the enemy armored units, let's say. There is 1 extra damage from this attack. It's not even like a dice like penetrating and stuff. It's like you just, all the extra damage kills another unit. Like it's more like this. Devastating is the weaker one, in the sense it's just an extra point of damage. Penetrating, if there is just extra damage, wipe out another unit entirely. This thing is just a huge melee beast. Is it worth it for just having it? I don't know. I honestly don't know. There are some armies that will not have an answer for this guy, because again, defense 4, damage limit 12, shrouded, it's gonna charge you very, very fast. It also has shockwave, so if he doesn't have good shooting unit, it might indeed make a double time and then make some suppression around. And the very fun and fluffy thing is that if it destroyed at least one enemy model, can be infantry, can be tanks and everything, you can make a throw attack. Then you make your command and conquest deck. You basically make a weakened ranged attack on any enemy unit within X inches, so in this case 12 inches, which is quite a large, using a dice, like the number of dice equal to the card value of the discarded card. So it's a nice little bonus attack. It will highly depend. Like if you put a 1, of course you're sad. If you put a 10, you're very happy. And it's still a weakened attack, but it's quite fun to just maybe kill a few infantry, and it's very thematic. And yeah, just love this little rule. Do note, and this is like the nail in the coffin for your opponents, is that it has the rule Stoic Defense. So it means that if an enemy charges you, and remember you are shrouded, high defender, you have a defensive advantage in the CQC. This thing is unchargeable. Like, even if you charge with, I don't know, horse guard, cavalry, like whatever, you charge this guy, which has huge defense, and he's gonna have defensive advantage. And then let me tell you that it's not gonna miss you when he fights back. Okay, maybe it's worth the 430 points, because damn, how do you deal with this guy? I don't know. I really don't know. Okay, now we are going to the smaller data sheets. I need to think of maybe not dealing with the giant behemoth from the beginning. We start with the Citizen Soldier Command Contingent, and this guy is your command infantry, very nice little model. You also have this special resin model if you take the introductory starter set. A little bit expensive, 80, 135 and 210, but it is a peer review, and this is why it's very expensive. This guy gives a bubble of basically ignore suppression, ignore rally, like infinite mod within 6 inches, which is huge. Remember that you have 8 models in this guy, and all of them gives the bubble. You can indeed have the will of going to 135 to first of all be tougher and expand the bubble, because the bubble of peer review is the core of the Covenant gameplay, like Enlightened gameplay. It also has command signal, which is very surprising. It means you can give bonus, your command bonus, even if you're in a transport, but the Covenant do not have transport yet, so we'll see what it means later on. It is made of basically paper, having defense 2, damage limit 1, so there is a way that these guys just get obliterated when someone looks at them funny. So yes, do expand your bubbles, but also stay hidden wherever you can. In a forest, in a building, like those guys get melted, and this is very, very high importance for your army. We will take a look just now of the basic infantry, because they have the same basically melee attack and all the same shooting and everything. The Citizen Soldier Contingent are cheap as chips, if that's the right English expression. 35 points give you 8 models, so still made of chips, but But guys, they can have infinite morale if you put them in the right place. So it means for 90 points, let me remind you that the basic game is at 2000 points. For 90 points, you have 24 stands of infantry. And you're like, yeah, but infantry is not so strong in this game. Well, this infantry can melt. They don't have very low defense. They are also constructs, which mean that if they get suppressed anyhow, for example by morale, they get disordered, and that's very hard. And it doesn't lose disordered by itself. It needs to be within 6 inches of a friendly commander, so that's very hard. So you need to have your peer reviews around. But if you are within peer review, you are ignore suppressed, you ignore many things, you don't care about a rally and everything, it's fine. And those guys, damn, do they pack a punch. When you have a full squad, like 24, like between 17 and 24 blocks of infantry, which is what you're gonna aim for, it means that up to 18 inches, 18 inches, yes, I said it right, for basic infantry, you can throw 11 dices, and if you get within 5 inches, so let's say like there is some enemy Jade Warriors or the Crown Fusiliers, anyone gets in infantry range, then it goes to 20 at point blank. Damn, this is already very good, but that's not the end. If your enemy brings some terracotta soldiers, those heavy, like, or in the mirror match, there are some enemy horror constructs, there are some union mechs, some heavy units, is the only infantry in the game that I know that by itself is not lost, because up to 10 inches they can shoot something. If you are full pack, it's going to be 8 dice. If you're minimum size, it's going to be 2 dice. But if you're in point blank within 3 inches, like you really shoot at point blank with your plasma weapons, it is going to be up to 13 dices, and you can overcharge. Yes, people are going to die, but it's a price you're willing to pay because those units are extremely cheap. So of course you want to overcharge and maybe go from 2 dice from your very small unit to maybe 12 dice and then obliterate a couple tanks. And of course, if you are 13 dice and you give plus 10, it's like gonna be 23 attacks from a unit that costs 90 and is cheap as chips. Anybody in your entire infantry horde can just obliterate and melt anything if you're lucky, which is a little bit the theme of the Covenant. Love these units, and they are beautiful. Like you've just seen before, like for me it's been a couple of weeks ago, but you've seen already the unboxing. Those models are so good looking. So I'm very happy that the game pushes you to have maybe 100 stands of infantry. Good luck on painting all of that. But yeah, it's gonna just look like a horde of cyber zombies. I cannot wait to see that on the table. Let's move on with the Brute Warden cohort. So there are 2 types of Brutes. The Wardens are the defensive ones. They have defense 2, damage limit 2, a bit expensive, at 55 for 4, 145 for 12. Those guys do punch in melee, especially if you punch against light units. As you can see, a full squad of 12 is gonna do 17 hits, but even a small squad of 4, which is sometimes what you want, is gonna still do 7 dice against infantry and suppressive, so you can indeed just push them back. Like you can fight enemy infantry quite efficiently. They are bulky, so it cannot take cover, which you don't care really, and it's hard to garrison and everything, but you don't want to garrison and go in transport that you don't have anyway, because you want to use their bulwark rule, which means that if a range attack goes through this little infantry unit, it is obscured. So they have this kind of shield, and they can protect your infantry behind, but this they would do anyway because they are size 1. But they can protect your walkers, your maps, because it doesn't say anything about the range. It could even protect... Sorry, my cat wants to say hi. You want to say hi? You like the Covenant? She's my little crazy scientist cat that I can pet while looking at the map of the world, because yes, I'm a real-life Covenant. Joke aside, you do have this bulwark thing that could protect your giant units if they were not already obscured. But having a line of those guys in front of your expensive, let's say cavalry, but especially your Mars or your artillery, giving them obscured, damn, that's really good. Plus they are berserk, which means that if it fails a rally test, it doesn't just get like the usual malus of failing a rally test. It gets very angry and it must make a charge, and then it must make a close quarter attack. But you don't mind. I mean, if the enemy comes and shoots at you, and then you fail your rally test when you activate and you try to rally, well, you don't mind. You just charge. Sure, no worries. Which is sometimes what you want to do anyway. It is also a construct, but overall, I really enjoy those guys. I think they are going to be an integral part on making your units tougher than they actually are. Do note that, of course, they don't apply bulwark to themselves, but they don't care. They're already shrouded. So very tough infantry that protects your little guys in the rear. Then you have the Brute Enforcer cohorts. Those are a little bit more expensive. They're the same toughness, but they are not shrouded. They don't have the bulwark rule, but they shoot quite good, up to 16 inches, only against light, but 4, 8, 12. It is devastating, so it means extra point of damage, which usually means an extra dead units when you shoot at infantry, and also suppressive, which means that it gives -1 discipline to the enemy that you're shooting. Not much to say. They are good DPS unit, expensive, but yeah, quite efficient. Next infantry unit, and at this point I think infantry is a bit of a stretch, is the Heavy Construct Devastator cohort. So as you can see, it's like this gigantic, quite Skaven-like creature. We've seen on the unboxing that there are a lot of different bits that you can use. It is very glass cannon. For 85 point brings you 4 models, and you can go up to 220 for 12 models, but damn are they easy to kill. They are defense 2, damage limit 2, which means that you will start to have severe losses, even though you are durable, which means that your heroic strikes score only 1 hit against you instead of 2. This will not save you completely. A couple turns of getting shot by anti-light weapons, whether artillery, good lined up infantry, aircrafts, basically anything will tear you apart. It wouldn't be so annoying if this guy didn't want to just charge down. Like, I mean, they have underwhelming ranged light attacks, which is just like to soften up an enemy before you get in position to charge. And if you charge, then okay, you can put 6 dice on a minimum sized unit on everything with devastating and suppressive, which is okay. You are speed 5, so I mean you can get there, but I think 85 points is damn of a lot of points for this. I think the datasheet as itself is cool. I love the concept. I think like if you put it in flank attack, it's gonna be nice. However, I'm like, defense 2, damage limit 2, I really believe they overestimate the power of durable. Like, they should give them either higher defense, but I think better higher damage limit. I mean, how is this guy the same damage limit as those guys? Okay, there is 4 of them per stand, so okay, makes a little bit of sense. But I mean, 85 points for something that has no transport, no delivery mechanism. When I compare them to the pacifiers, for example, of the Union, I'm like, how do you even bring them? Like, they would like to teleport or to, I don't know, have a transport. Right now, the only thing you can do is flank attack, which, okay, you have this battle group that allows you to deploy it more easily, but still, it's a bit hard. The good thing with it is that it has the rule overrun, which has been applied retroactively to the Horse Guard, for example, of the British cavalry, which means that if he wins a close quarter combat, the enemy has been has not been annihilated. So you win the close quarter combat, they pull back and they're still there. You can put a command card, and if it's not countered, you will overrun. So you immediately make a charge maneuver. Since they're quite fast for an infantry, you probably will catch them back, and then you make another close quarter attack with a combat penalty. Okay, and then they can retaliate. But at this point, I think they will be dead anyway. This is good, like this is actually a good combo, but I'm like, will you reach a point where your pack of Heavy Construct Devastators will be able to charge their preferred target? I don't know. If you have ideas on how to deliver those guys, let us know in the comments, because I want to make them work, I just don't see how right now. Now, some units that will not have a problem of delivery is the Hellion Cohorts. So those guys have a lot of good things for their mobility. Like, mobility is what they're all about, which is good because they have only melee attacks. And yes, they have okay melee. They have 3, 7, 12, which goes up against light, which is what you're gonna aim for. 6, 12, 18, so quite good, and suppressive, so I mean, okay. They have only a speed of 4, so you may be like, what the hell, what's going on? The thing is, they are very mobile with a lot of things. They have Vanguard, so you can deploy them 7 inches forward before anything. You can also give them a boom if you put a pack of 12 of those to make them even have a better like, movement and stuff. You do have hit and run 5 inches, so after the attack phase, even if you don't shoot, you can make a 5-inch move. So your speed is 4, but okay, you can move an additional 5 with that. And there is even soar, then you do become aerial, okay, but you basically double your speed, which is very good. Be careful if the enemy has anti-air units around, but then it would mean you have Vanguard 7 plus soar 8, which means 15, plus hit and run 5. You can move 20 inches in your first turn and then 13 inches every time until you find an enemy target, and then you can charge them and wipe them out. I mean, they are fragile like any infantry, and which means that if they are sore and they get caught in crossfire with anti-air weapon, they will die. But at 40 points for 4 and 105 for 12 of them, that's a unit I want to play. They have Discipline of 6, which got boosted because before it was 5, it was very, very hard. Now it's okay, Discipline of 6. However, you would enjoy, of course, to have a peer review, but this is typically the kind of unit that it's going to be very hard to have a commander in reach of those guys because they're really going to go just straight for your enemy's light artillery and stuff, or even heavy artillery, to be fair. They also have hover, they're all the good keywords, and they are, I quite like them as a little flank harassers. Talking about flank harassers, there's going to be a lot of them. This is actually not a cavalry unit, be careful, even though there are 5 models, like any cavalry, but those are infantry, light units obviously. They are the Seeker Outriders cohorts, same defensive profile as any infantry, defense 2, damage limit 1, so ouch, but you pay only 35 for 5, so basically the same price as the citizen contingent, except you have 5, 10, 15 instead of 8, 16, 24. You have ranged attack at very point blank, like 3 and 6, but I mean at this point, like just aim for the point blank, so it is quite envisionable. Their special thing is that they have the locomotor boosters, which means that you consume a card. You can see that the Covenant does consume a lot of cards if they want to do what they want, and then when you make a charge or a double time maneuver, it's equal to your speed plus the card value of the discarded card instead of twice the speed. So instead of making 8, which is what it would be, it's going to be 4 plus 3, 4 plus 6, 4 plus 10. Be careful, however, it can mean that you are going to go slower than what you could be. Do you really want to spend your cards on this? I think not. I think those are very good as harassing units indeed, or if you really want to make this very good charge, then try it. But I think they are better as very small, like minimum size flanker units. You kind of hide them around. You shoot on enemy infantry, and if you really need, you put them into melee range. But I think their role is really just to bully the enemy Ons, cavalry, light infantry, scouts, pioneers and stuff on the edge of the map. This time go with the real cavalry, still the same profile, defense 2, damage limit 1. They are automatas, so they cannot take objectives, but they don't care about peer review, like they always fulfill their discipline test. Very good. They're a bit more expensive, 40 all the way to 105 for 5, 10, 15. Does mean that they compete with the Hellion Cohort in terms of points. They don't hover, they don't have Vanguard, they don't have many things except like they are cavalry. They have speed of 5, so but they are pioneers, so they really want to be like in the forest, in the rivers, in the harsh terrains. They also can shoot through the forest, like this is the update of pioneers with the global rule update. They can be on the edge of the forest and shoot 14 inches with their light attacks, or 6 if the enemy gets close, but I don't think your enemy will make this mistake. They are shooty units. Don't consider that since they are cavalry, they are melee forces. Absolutely not. They are much better shooting, ideally at light units, because then you get devastating. But if there is a big pack of tanks, don't be upset. You just lose devastating, but it's the same attack. They are good, quite versatile, and they will bully the enemy out of forests, because with pioneers they will be able to shoot very efficiently at enemy units that do try to go in the forest, and then they can just stay at the edge and just shoot at any enemy that comes near. Quite nice, and I do like the miniature. Another type of cavalry, the mono Cav Cohort. We've seen they are mainstay in the flank attack battle group. Those guys start to be a little bit tougher, but there's not so many of them. They're expensive. Defense 3 for damage limit 1. So, you pay 70 for 4, and then all the way up to 180 for 12. So, yeah, fair price, not super expensive. They have Vanguard 7, so with their speed of 7, you can see they are quite fast. And they have Hit and Run 5, which means that they can have a Vanguard and move of 14, then shoot up to 14 inches, and then make a repositioning of 5 inches, maybe going behind cover or going closer to the enemy. Probably they don't care much about going closer to the enemy. They do have locomotor boosters, so again, you can use a card to not when you make a double time or charge, but you have poor melee. I don't think you want to do that. And they have good middle range-ish anti-light attacks. They are not automatas or anything, so they can take objectives, and they are fair in cavalry. I am not super fan of this, but again, I play mostly Union, so of course the cavalry of the Union is all the way up there, so it's a high bar to reach. They are fine, they are fine. They are not super expensive at all, and having 1 pack or 2 packs of those guys, minimum sized, just to, again, have some flanking units, seems fine. Like, the Covenant really seems to me they're gonna have huge packs of infantry with few layers, like the Warden, the tanks, the big blocks of infantry right in the center, and all those weird crazy shenanigans going on the flanks. Now, another type of cavalry, which I love the model, so I will try to make it work, and I think there is a way to make it work, is the Strider Cav Cohort. So a bit expensive, 70 up to 180, so exactly the same price as the Mono Cav, except they trade their quite okay light attack for an absolutely brutal melee attack, defense 3, damage limit 1 again, speed of 6. They are irregulars, so they're gonna be spread around, so that might help you to just cover more ground, let's say. And they have Pioneers, so those are the kind of cavalry that you really want to be hidden in the forest and then just jump out and bully something, probably tanks, because it's a melee attack, so you don't really care. It's devastating and suppressive. I mean, you will tear apart the infantry just as well. But usually, like the Covenant, from what I see, might have many anti-light units, really a lot. Sometimes their weapons do both, but you don't have many dedicated anti-tank units in your infantry, in your cavalry, etc. I mean, you do have your infantry that you can shoot at point blank easily, like your basic infantry, but it's a bit of a gamble. And then you can try melee. Striders are one of the melee options for you to try and deal with your enemy's tanks. I think it's a good option. But again, it really wants to stay in forests and harsh terrains to not get shot off the table. I finished all the cavalries with the Sickle Gyro Cav Cohort. This is only 2 models for 65 points, all the way to 170 for 6 models. Those are damn fast. They have Vanguard 12 and speed of 10. So yes, they are extremely fast. Consider them like basically helicopters. They are aerial units. It used to be the only aerial units of the game, but now we have the real aircraft. Defense 2, damage limit 2. They are fragile. Like, consider them as cavalry. You can always see them and always shoot at them, so be careful. They have close ranged attacks. That's gonna be tough to get in range if your enemy has long range anti-air firepower. Luckily, anti-air units usually have short range attacks. The Sickles is going to be there once the terrain has been cleaned, either to hunt enemy infantry, and it does it very well with 4, 10, 15 attacks, or to hunt enemy aerials, probably other rotorcrafts or aerial infantry. They can probably be in the lookout. I don't think being flying prevents you from being on the lookout, but yeah, if you can shoot enemy rotorcrafts or flying infantry, 5, 11, 16 is good, And they're not very expensive, 65 all the way to 170. They're not very expensive, they're extremely mobile. If they had anti-heavy attack, I would be extremely happy. I would say these are the units that you use to hunt your enemy's artillery all the way to the back. It's not going to be possible, because even if you're very fast, they don't have anti-heavy attack. But if your enemy has things like Giselles from the Empire, or these Gatling, like light artillery and this kind of thing, those guys can go and hunt them down very, very efficiently. And the same, if your enemy has also infantry, very elite, that it tries to hide behind buildings, behind ruins, like getting ready for a charge, those guys are flying, they will see them, they're extremely fast, they will deal with the enemy's elite light units very well. And we switch now to all the heavy walker units. So we start with the artillery chassis, which has one melee variant. This is what we're gonna see. The Callisto assault gatherers. Now we start to talk about armors, because this thing has defense 3, damage limit 3 per models. Okay, now we're talking. 80 points for 2, 210 for 6. It has only melee. So it's good that it's tough, because you're gonna charge it down. It has Hunter, so you're gonna victory points for each melee battle that you win. And you will win, especially if you target enemy light units. It is 3-7-12 basically against heavy units. Not great, but against light you go to 5-10-15, which means that you're gonna tear things apart relatively efficiently, especially since they will probably not kill a single unit back in the attack. So you have Hunter, you also have Stoic Defense, so if the enemy charges you, you have the melee advantage, which is very well. Those are the guys that stay near your Wardens to make sure that all your shooty units do not get charged by the opponents. It is a bit slow, but it's harsh to deal with, and your enemy will have to deal with it, because you will put it in the front line. He knows that if he charges you with his melee units, you will have Stoic Defense and plus Hunter, so you gain victory points if you efficiently push back the charge, which you might be with a Stoic Defense. So it's a very good melee deterrent. Then the first real artillery, the Enceladus Mortar Crawlers. Now we start to talk about the price. 110 gives you 2 models, 285 gives you 6, and it has a mortar, which is very, very powerful. Do note that this little guy is cumbersome, so if you make a double time, you will gain the reload status, and now the indirect weapons cannot be shot when you have reload status, so be careful about that. The good thing with this guy is that it is indirect, it does allow you to shoot very efficiently at enemy units, even without exposing yourself. If you can expose yourself and not have the indirect malus, very good. You shoot at 20 inches, which is not nothing for a unit that can just move forward and is quite tough. But if the enemy has anti-heavy units just waiting for you, well, you can hide behind a building and just shoot your efficient weapons. I mean, against infantry from 6 to 20 inches, you cannot shoot too close. You're gonna have 6, 11, 17 with Siege Breaker, which means that you have a chance on destroying buildings outright. Great. And if you shoot with this big anti-building mortar on heavies, you gain suppressive instead at 3, 7, 12, so a bit less. And you can even shoot on aerial units. 3, 7, 9, not great, but okay. And there is an impact, but you shouldn't try to make any impacts with this guy. And the very cool thing is that it moves 7, it can shoot, and then it moves with hit and run. So double time is not a great idea, I would say, except if you're willing to project itself super far from the very beginning, because you can make 4, 4, 3, which will be like 11 inches, and then you're in good position, I guess. If you have a card to remove reload, it's okay. But the really good thing is that it's very hard to get a line on this guy. There is a trick, like if you are behind a building, you are a little pack of like just 2 models, or let's say 2 and 2, you move out 3 inches, you shoot, and hit and run, you remove back 3 inches and you try to hide again. And then you neglect completely the malus of indirect if you're in a good position. I really, really like the Enceladus, and I think if I were playing Covenant, I would absolutely play 1 or even 2 packs of those guys, very hidden, to do just this, like just going out, shooting 20 inches without indirect and coming back. And if there is an enemy, if my enemy gets triggered and he's like, okay, I'm on the lookout, well, then I can just shoot at you with indirect, and I'm even going to be suppressive. They're going to be just annoying little ticks to get rid of. Then the Europa artillery crawlers is basically the same with a different weapon, different price, like it's a bit cheaper, as you can see, 105 all the way to 275. The attack is a bit further away, and you can shoot even closer if that's a matter to you. It doesn't have siege breaker or suppressive, but the statistics against light is 4, 8, 12, against heavy 6, 12, 16 with indirect. And I mean, it's okay, it's a bit less anti-infantry and a bit more anti-tank. It's one of the few good anti-tanks long-range weapons that you have. So I would say a pack of 2, 4, even 6 Europas, staying just behind your main wall of flesh charging forward is going to be efficient, especially since you also have hit and run on this guy. Okay, now we talk with the big boys. Overcharge, you know it already. 130 points for 2 models, 340 points for 6 models, but what models they are. They're a bit fragile though, be careful. Defense 3, damage limit 3 as well, okay, but those guys move 6, they have 3 attacks of sponson, so you can make little anecdotic attacks on enemies getting too close, okay, sure. Stilted, so they can shoot above your infantry, that is nice. They have anti-light units, point blank, so I think it's those small cannons right here and there, point blank, but damn does it shoot good. If you have a big pack of 6 Mars battle tripods, it's going to be 12 attacks, or within 3 ranges, 18 dice. That's very good, but it's more like a last defense, I would say. But their main attack is against heavy, so only direct points of attack, okay? Turret, so you can shoot a little bit everything, every direction. 4, 8, 13, but if you are at point blank within 7 inches, so first of all, good luck getting there, it goes to 8, 14, 18, so you can absolutely obliterate them, and you can also overcharge if you really want. Do you really want? I don't know, because if you have 18 dice, do you really want to use a card to maybe get 4 or 5 extra dice and risk gaining like 4 or 5 points of damage? I'm not sure the trade is good. But if you have, for example, only a small unit of 1 or 2 Mars battle tripods at long range at 20 inches, and there's going to be 4 dice, then yes, it's probably worth it to use a command card because the benefit is flat. Overall, yeah, it's the main battle tank. It's not a battle tank per se, but I really like it. And damn, this thing just walking over the infantry to charge down at point blank is brilliant. Probably do put the Warden, like brute Wardens in front of it, because it does want to be obscured to try to survive, because defense 3, damage limit 3, this thing is gonna fly if there is any dedicated anti-tank firepower in front, like, I don't know, Galahad tanks from the Crown, for example. The Deimos Guardian tripod is going to be your best friend against aerial units, and God knows that the aerial can be annoying now that we know how they play. 125 for 2, 325 for 6, same defensive profile, same everything, except it has no anti-heavy attack, same anti-light unit, so probably from this little eyes there, but it has this thing in the back, I don't know how it shoots, but it's anti-aerial, it's a lock-on, so you have, like, you don't care about opportunity like reaction fire, and it has Stalker, which means that whatever it does, if it does not make an attack, it gains on the lookout. So you can absolutely make a double time to get in a good position, or advance and take cover. I'm not sure vehicles can take cover anyway, but yeah, you can absolutely just move this thing double time, so 12 inches, and it's gonna gain on the lookout, and then any aircraft that gets in range will just shoot it out of the sky with, well, depend on the range. If it's a bit far within 12 inches, you're still gonna make 4, 8, 12 dice, which is good. And if it gets within point blank, because you're like, yeah, whatever, I don't fear you, it can go all the way to 18 dice, but I don't think your opponent is gonna do that. It's really gonna keep the aircraft away. Final unit that we will see today is the Phobos Assault Tripod. This is the melee variant of those tripods. Still the same anti-light attacks, okay, sure. 135 for 2, 230 for 4, 350 points for 6. Ooh, expensive. They have the same defensive profile as everything. Their melee attack is good, especially anti-heavy. 3, 5, 7, but against heavy it's going to be 5, 7, 12. And it's penetrating. We know how good it is against very heavily armored units. And yeah, 12 dice against heavy with penetrating. I mean, this is going to make even a whole battalion of Galahad heavy tanks of the Crown sweat against those things. Plus it has the funny throw rule, so if you destroy enemies, you can use a card and make a small attack. I wonder if it works for each unit, like you make 6 small attacks if you have 6 Phobos that destroyed 6 enemy models. That would be fun, but I don't think that's how it works. I love the concept of the Phobos. I just think that maybe I prefer the Mars, which doesn't need to get in melee and can do less damage, yes, but still, let's say 4, 8, 13 at any range, while the even in melee against the right target, it's gonna be 5, 7, 12 in melee specifically. Yes, it gains penetrating, which is very good, but I think the Mars just wins the melee in any case. So you've had your army, you've painted it all, and you're like, how do I expand? Well, The number one advice that I would say, like, except buying a second starter because the deal is incredible and you love the terrain and everything, which, okay, but I'm not gonna recommend right away to buy a second set, would be to buy instead the introductory starter set. Because you don't have a second flagship, Behemoth, that's true, but you get a lot more of basically everything and just one more signs of reinforcements for your infantry, for basically everything. I wanted to make the detail, which allows you for each model, if you proxy or magnetize or can chain, which allows you to reach the highest level, which is reinforcements level 3. So for example, in your initial starter, the one that we've been talking about, you have 16 of the contingent soldiers. Here you get another 8, so you can go to 24. You have 4 of the giant War of the World tripods with +2. We can go to the third level of reinforcement, so 6. So for only 56 euros before discounts, I think that is a good deal. And you even have an exclusive, I think it's this model here, an exclusive resin only model of commanding infantry stand. And there is no other way except in this introductory starter set to get it. So really good deal, and you do have a lot of things in your Covenant plastic sprues. So yeah, big thumbs up if you want to go with this. And as always, minus 15% on my place, you know how it works, and thank you if you put us in the basket for getting back 5%. Another option that you could absolutely go with is the Wales Battle Group set, because, well, I mean, maybe you play Covenant for the hordes of infantry, but if you play because you love those artillery walkers, those tripod walkers, and the Wells, and or the Horsell, which is how I would play if I were playing Covenant, well, this is a very good deal as well. 62 euros, minus 15% later, of course, will give you this giant, I mean, massively chunky piece of resins, and more of everything. More tanks, like more tripods, more quadrupods, more giant quadrupod, more rotorcrafts, and lots of everything. So this is, for me, a really big success for the Covenant because, well, I'm partial. I love the models. If you prefer the infantry and you want to play infantry horde, yes, maybe that's not the box for you. But if you like the giant resin beast, then for sure. And finally, they're finally here. The aircrafts, I will make a dedicated video with all 4 of them once I receive. We are like 31st of March, I still don't have them, but I still hope to receive them soon. And I will make a full Tactica of everything. But just so you can see about what it does, it costs 90 for 1, 235 for 3 models. You can see that they are fragile-ish, no, quite fragile. Defense 2, damage limit 3 for something that costs 90 points for 1 is fragile, let's not lie. But it has some very interesting attacks. It's both light and heavy, and it has coruscating and overcharge. That with the mobility that it has with break turn, I will make a more detailed thing later. But damn, this thing can threaten everything anywhere. Like, I love the aircraft, and if you love the design as well and you just want to add another layer of your battles, having just one drone is going to be good. If you're like me, like you want to buy 3 straight away to make a huge squadron just charging down the center of the table, you can. Otherwise, just a single one just to have fun, have a little expansion of your collection for 18.75 euros each. And then you have minus 15%, so it's going to be like, what, 14 euros or 15 for one? Like, I mean, come on, for a big, beautiful model of resin like this, I really think it's worth it. And okay, we arrive at the end of this video. Thank you very much, guys, for having stayed until the end. I hope that you enjoyed, that it was informative, that it was not too long. As always, thumbs up, you know how it works. Let us know in the comment what do you think about the Covenant. Would you like me to make shorter videos later on? And as always, if you put a comment, you gain chances, you know how it works. Tickets for winning a Union Armada or Dwegom Army, and also you can join us on the Discords to gain even more tickets for the contest. Next video for Armoured Clash is going to be the unboxing and everything of the aircrafts, of course, absolutely. We should have the Gotham for Dystopian Wars as well. And very soon, and I mean very soon, like beginning of April, we're going to start to record some first didactic, then 2000 points, I think it is, battle reports for Armoured Clash. It's going to be Union versus Crown So finally our armies are being painted, and do expect battle reports very soon. I am extremely excited, and I'm pretty sure once we start there will be a constant stream of battle reports going there. Would you like us to reduce a little bit dystopian wars while we do a lot of Armoured Clash, or do you still want us to get a balance between each other? Because I don't want us to get carried away and only play Armoured Clash and give up dystopian wars while we prepare the full narrative campaign that will link both games together. Thank you guys, until the next video. First of all, remember to subscribe as well if you're not subscribed yet, and of course until the next video, remember to keep things fair in love and war games. Bye!